Hello chess buddies, welcome to Amateur Chess University. Today we'll be looking into a very exciting Blitz game between two world-renowned grandmasters that only lasted 11 moves. It was played between Shakriyar Mamedyarov and Judit Polgar in the World Blitz 2014 event. Now this game features a stunning move that you have to figure out. So without further ado, let's head straight into the game. Mamedyarov here had the white pieces and he begins with the d4, going for the queen's pawn opening. Judith replied with knight to f6, setting up the Indian game. Here Mamedyarov played his dark square bishop to g5, going for the Tramposky attack. And Judith here played her knight from f6 to e4, targeting the dark square bishop at g5. Here white usually brings the dark square bishop to f4. But here Mamedyarov pushed his dark square bishop back to h4, going for the edge variation of the Tramposky attack. The edge variation maintains the pressure on this diagonal by the dark bishop. Usually, black plays the pawn from g7 to g5 in this position, targeting the dark square bishop, and white tries to counter this by pushing the pawn from f2 to f3, targeting the knight. But Judith here didn't push the pawn from g7 to g5. She pushed her pawn from d7 to d5. And now Mamedyarov played his pawn from f2 to f3, targeting this knight at e4. And Judith brought her knight back to d6. Here Mamedyarov developed his queenside knight, bringing it to c3, targeting this d5 pawn. And Judith pushed her c7 pawn to c6. Now Mamedyarov pushed his pawn from e2 to e4. And Judith brought her queen from d8 to b6. And Mamedyarov played his queen from d1 to d2, preparing for the queenside castling. Here black has several options, like capturing this pawn at b2. However, it has to be wary of the rook coming to b1, or capturing this pawn at e4 with the d5 pawn. But Judith here pushed her pawn from e7 to e6, looking to provide a double defense to this pawn at d5. However, moving the pawn to e6 also exposes this long diagonal to the dark square bishop of white. In this position, Mamedyarov goes for the queenside castling. Now the d5 pawn captures a pawn on e4, and the f3 pawn captures a pawn on e4. Here Judith moved her queen to a5, and Mamedyarov moved his king to b1, providing additional support for this pawn at a2. Now the very best move for black in this position was to play the knight from d6 to b5. But Judith here developed her queenside knight from b8 to d7, and this was a huge mistake. And in this position, Mamedyarov came up with a brilliant move. It's not very easy to spot, so feel free to pause the video and try to figure out the move Mamedyarov played next. If you're able to figure it out, well done. You have a very good eyes for spotting the winning move. The move played by Mamedyarov in this position was bringing his knight from c3 to d5. It was a brilliant move, yet shocking for Judith, and it was in this position on move 11 that she resigned the game. So let's see why. Now the problem for black is pretty evident. Black king at e8 doesn't have any square to move to. Playing knight to d5 exposes the black queen for an attack. And if Judith tries to capture the queen at d2 with a queen, then Mamedyarov will move his knight from d5 to c7, delivering a checkmate. And the problem here is Judith cannot move to any of the b6, c7 and d8 square, as all of them are controlled by either the knight or the dark square bishop. So the only option that Judith was left here with was sacrificing her queen. So that's the reason why Judith resigned the game after move 11. So that's the game. Although it was a blitz game with a little time, Mamedyarov was able to come up with a brilliant idea to completely outfox one of the best of all time, Judit Polgar, in just 11 moves. If you have any thoughts on the game, feel free to share below. Thank you for watching. Take care. See you.